This week on Hero Power, we discuss the Blizzcon Hearthstone World Championships and the new Hearthstone adventure, League of Explorers. And welcome back to Hero Power, Episode 5.
You guys been practicing your dance moves all day, haven't you?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, that is our new intro music. We are working on an intro video, but we wanted to give you guys a preview of the music.
Sneak peek.
Yeah, and that intro is brought to you in part by our Patreons who helped us get that funded. So if you haven't checked it out yet, please, patreon.com/ECMMOGamers. Having you guys as patrons allows us to do things like that, and we've got some other really neat stuff planned for the future. Once we hit our first milestone goal, we're going to start giving away monthly giveaway, giving away prizes.
Oh yeah, I'm excited for that. I've already got lots of ideas for prizes and getting things kind of rolling on that. I'm really excited.
Yeah. So, with that said, did you guys get to play any Hearthstone this week? Zeroshio?
Yeah. I'm still playing around the ladder. I've fallen pretty far. I'm mainly enjoying the new Tavern Brawl, which is an old Tavern Brawl. We'll talk about that a little bit more. And getting hyped up for League of Explorers. I spent most of the weekend watching BlizzCon and just getting excited.
Yeah. How about you, Versika?
Like James, it was mostly BlizzCon related stuff, and I did get on the ladder and lose a lot, but I wasn't trying hard. I was trying out new decks, new versions of decks, and play mode was not cutting it for me. So I got on the ladder and basically I think I got up as high as 14 or 13, and then I think
Pretty good.
lost back down to 19, and I think I'm somewhere around 17 now.
I'm 20. That's if that says anything. I've been experimental with an idea of mine that is so far not working.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of what I did. Is like, the meta changed so much with the tournament, and you've got these new cards coming out. So to really get in now and try to, I guess, establish a good solid baseline for a deck, it just doesn't seem like a good investment of time, because in 2 weeks it's all going to be changed up anyway. So now is the perfect time to get on and try deck ideas that you've been wanting to try, or you've seen a fun deck, or maybe you ran into something that just kind of sparked your imagination. Now is the time to try that stuff. So I guess the rest of November is kind of a toss-up month for me.
Yeah, I my daily yesterday was to win 5 as a paladin or a priest, and let me tell you, I started out 2 stars into rank 15 and decided to call it a day at 1 star left in rank 17. So it was not my day yesterday. However, I managed to knock that daily out in about 6 games today. So,
and right now you're seeing a lot of Freeze Mage.
Yeah,
Freeze Mage is so popular, which I like because I'm good at playing against Freeze Mage because I used to play a lot of Freeze Mage.
I'm running into a lot of Tempo Mage, a lot of Secret Paladin. Some of the deck that we're playing today, been seeing it pop up. So at least there's diversity.
Yeah, I was getting wrecked.
I like that.
I was getting wrecked by. It seemed like every deck I saw was Mech Mage. So,
at least it isn't Face Hunter.
Yeah, there is that. Funny story. One of my dailies earlier in the week was to win 3 as a hunter, so I created a face hunter, and I was that guy on ladder. That's how I got 2 stars into 15.
Alex. No. Alex, like, I'm done with the show. I quit. I will not be associated with your kind. Good day, sir.
That saddens my heart.
I said good day.
Hey, somebody has to play the face hunter. Might as well be me, right?
No. I do not buy into that logic.
All right, guys. So, as we were just discussing, BlizzCon was this weekend. Lot of news, lot of information came out. Some really great esports matches were had this weekend all across the board. But we're here to talk Hearthstone. So, let's talk about that grand final between Ostkaka and Hotform. Now, I have watched this match 3 times in the last 3 days, and it seems like it just gets better every time I watch it. Zeroshio, you look like you're about to pop. Go ahead.
Ostkaka, and the Ostkaka Hotform matches were good, but Ostkaka dominated those exchanges and those games. I implore people to go back to the VODs and watch Ostkaka versus Tice. That was some of the best Hearthstone I've ever seen in my entire life. And some of the best matches I've seen in any collectible card game. And I'm an old school Magic player from 20 years ago. So it really, really, really was an awesome tournament. Not to downplay the Hotform Ostkaka. That definitely was a grand finals matchup. But the Tice Ostkaka match could have also been a grand finals matchup.
Yeah, if you want to see strategy and patience and
Freeze
just
Mage versus
knowledge of the
Freeze
game,
Mage.
it was a great matchup.
Yeah. So in the grand finals, you had Ostkaka playing Freeze Mage, Oil Rogue, and Patron Warrior, and you had Hotform playing Tempo Mage, Oil Rogue, and Mid Range Druid. So we talked mid-range druid in week 2 of our show, episode 2. If you want to check that out, you can go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ECMMOGamers. All of our episodes are posted there. But the one thing that stuck out to me, and the reason we're doing the deck we chose this week, is because Hotform and Ostkaka were the only 2 of the top 16 to bring Rogue to the tournament.
And I believe they may have been the only 2 in the top 64, if I'm not mistaken. I look back. I know it's definitely 32, but I believe the top 64. Before that, I'm not sure.
So
I thought I saw some Rogue.
So do you think they did so well because nobody was expecting the Rogue?
Honestly, I think as you're teching your decks, because you can't prepare for everything. I think as people were taking their decks, I don't think Oil Rogue was a huge consideration because it had fallen out of favor. So I do think there was a little bit of surprise factor in there. But also, I think you have to play decks that play to your strengths and that really augment your play style. And I think if you look at the field, there weren't very many players that Oil Rogue necessarily suited because it required patience, it required timing, it required thinking ahead, anticipating what your opponent was going to do and what you were going to need and when you were going to need it. The deck is difficult. It requires a high skill level to play, and I think that it's no accident that the 2 people that brought it are the 2 people that were exhibiting the highest level of play.
Yeah.
I think the 2 walk hand in hand.
Do you think the Warsong Commander nerf played any into Rogue and even Priest and Shaman doing well in this latter stage of this tournament?
Absolutely. In fact, at one point, Kriparian even mentions he and Frodan have a conversation about how only 2 weeks ago everybody was saying Patron was dead, and here Ostkaka brings Patron. I believe there was 1 or 2 other Patron Warrior decks there, but
It was Osaka and Tice.
Yeah, and everybody else was talking about how this deck was just dead. Nobody would be playing it anymore. It's gone. And, Osaka, even after the tournament, was, thanking his team member, CZ, I think, because it's his deck list that he was playing. Zixo, yeah. It's his deck list he's playing. And so, it was a shock, I think, for people to see it, and then it work out as well as it did because they were playing it in more of a... It was really almost like a mid-range warrior.
It is a mid-range warrior. As a matter of fact, this deck is not old, or is not new. It's an older deck, but it more played with Frothing Berserker and not so much Patron because Patron wasn't out yet. The thing that is really amazing about it is they say the Patron Warrior possibly opened the door for all these other decks, but two of the players that brought odd decks, like Oil Rogue and Priest, also brought Patron. So most people dropped Patron and picked up something like Shaman or Rogue or something that's not normally in the meta, or Paladin.
I would say there was a lot of secret Paladin at the tournament.
And these players chose to keep Patron Warrior, but still drop something else out of their meta. In Osaka's case, he likely dropped mid-range Druid out of his rotation. So,
well, and this isn't what I'm about to say is not meant to be insulting. So please, if anyone out there loved the Patron Warrior with the Warsong Commander, I'm not insulting you when I say the comment that I'm about to say.
Here it comes.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're looking at two very different styles of play, and now to play Patron Warrior takes a significantly higher degree of skill because you still have to find ways to pull that combo off, but then you have to find a way to make it survive. You now it's the equivalent of using a force of nature Savage Roar to clear instead of going to face. It's those types of decisions. It's those types of setups that now it's not so much a win condition. Now it is a means of survival.
It's a tempo. It's a tempo play.
Right. But you also have to find new ways to, I don't want to say abuse, but to get the most out of your patrons. Whereas before it was a much easier thing to do.
The new version of Patron Warrior is truly, in my opinion, a Patron Warrior deck in that you have to figure out how to play Patron Warrior in a way that best benefits you to win the game. In the old version of Patron Warrior, to me, it wasn't ever Patron Warrior. It was a Warsong Commander Warrior. Right. Because if you didn't get Warsong Commander, you didn't win. It really didn't matter how you played Patron Warrior or Frothing Berserker, as long as you had Warsong Commander to go with it.
Well, Warsong Commander allowed you to cover up mistakes.
It was an aggro deck.
Right, you could make a couple of mistakes and still come out on top. With the Patron Warrior, the way it is played now, one mistake in round 4 or 5, now everything is off kilter and it will haunt you and it may end up costing you the game. So like I said, it takes a higher degree of skill to play now.
Oh yeah.
But so it was a great set of games against those two, Hot Form and Osaka. If you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend you go check it out. Congratulations to Osaka on winning the event.
Very well earned.
Osaka's
done really well in the tournaments he's been in. I thought that he wasn't quite up to snuff to win it. I knew he was going to get probably semifinals, but I didn't think he could pass Tice. I thought Tice had this locked up, but he totally surprised me in pulling out those wins. And he made some really very odd clutch decisions against Tice to take himself to the finals against Hot Form.
And you actually gave everybody a little nugget of wisdom there that I don't know if you realized you gave them. One of my favorite Hearthstone players is Sixo. When I started playing Hearthstone and I started looking for players that played in a way that I wanted to play the game, I really honed in on 3. 6-0, Savitz, and Kalento. And I felt like I felt like the 3 of them kind of melded together what I considered to be the perfect Hearthstone player. So in watching 6-0, in fact, when I started playing, the first deck that I really got on the ladder with and attempted to ladder with was the 6-0 Shaman. So if you're looking for good, solid deck lists that don't necessarily require a great deal of dust to create, but are still highly effective and will teach you the basics of how to play Hearthstone and give you a solid foundation. 6-0's decks are not necessarily complicated, but they give a great basic concept, and the learning curve is presented in a way that allows you to learn at your own pace.
Yeah, it's something I want to point out with those players, especially Kalento and 6-0, and Savitz as well, is their work ethic is impeccable. I remember watching tournaments where Kalento is up till 6:30 in the morning and playing NA tournaments, and his parents are bringing him black tea so he can stay awake, staying up all hours of the night, doing back-to-back tournaments like that where they don't sleep for 36 hours and win $5,000 in prize money and chance to go to BlizzCon. Their work ethic and their dedication to their craft. I mean, this is a job for these kids. They're making the money they need to support themselves or put themselves through college. Their work ethic is just awesome. It's impeccable.
Yeah.
Well, now we've got a new European to track.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, I've been watching Osaka since last year. He's good. I underestimated him. I'll be honest. And I will watch a lot more of his VODs and his tournament play because he is good.
Yep, I agree.
Even the games he lost, he was good. That's the last thing I'll say on that.
All right, we're gonna move on. The other big announcement out of BlizzCon, besides the tournament, was a new adventure that's actually going to be launching tomorrow.
Well, it was supposed to launch tomorrow.
Yeah. Have they said anything about moving it back?
No, but it accidentally came up in the store where you can purchase it.
That's true.
Get access to the Safari hat or Adventurer's hat.
Adventurer's hat. Yep. So this is the League of Explorers. You know, we had a discussion last week, I think, where we were, kind of trying to guess what we thought the next adventure was going to be based on leaked
and
images.
Once again, I was horribly wrong.
Well, we all were. We weren't even in the ballpark.
This is Pirates versus Ninjas all over again.
So, League of Explorers, it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to actually touch on it here, and we're going to give you guys a preview. Let me get that pulled up.
Of all 45 cards.
We're going to move pretty quick through them. We've got other stuff to do tonight. All right, so Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft, the League of Explorers. We're going to start with the Druid. Here you have the Jungle Moonkin, who's a 4/4 for 4, which to me is already good. But he gives both players spell damage +2. If you guys want to talk about any of these, just feel free to interrupt me and jump in. We've got the Mounted Raptor, who's 3/2 for 3. His Death Rattle summons a random 1-cost minion. This can be iffy, depends on what you get. And then you got the Raven Idol. I think this is one of the best cards in this set. 1 to cast, you can choose to either discover a minion or discover a spell. If you're not familiar with the discover mechanic, it basically will give you a choice of 3. You'll have 3 options to choose from, either a minion or a spell in this case. So if you say you discover a spell, it's going to give you the choice of 3 druid spells to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
It'll always be a spell of your class.
Yes.
Now, if you choose to discover a minion, the way I understand it is it could be any minion in the game.
Neutral or druid.
Neutral or druid, yeah.
Yeah, it
Right.
won't ever be another class. It'll always be either neutral or druid. And I'm going to disagree with you. Raven Idol is a very good card. I like it. I think the best druid card, at least, is Jungle Moonkin. And I'll tell you why. It's going to make a new meta with a new win condition for druid, which we've needed for so long. Force of Nature Savage Roar has always been the go-to win condition, and Jungle Moonkin's going to change that.
Yep.
All right, moving along.
I think you'll also start to see some Blood Mage Thalnos popping up.
Yep.
In those decks now.
It's going to change the win condition for druid. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. All right, so your hunter cards are the Explorer's Hat, which they talked about a lot at BlizzCon. 2 to cast, give a minion +1/+1, and it has Death Rattle. Add the Explorer's Hat to your hand. Because what's the one thing an Explorer never loses?
His hat.
Exactly. All right, so then you got the Desert Camel. 3 to cast for a 2/4. I love this card.
This is great.
Battle Cry. Put a 1-cost minion from each deck into the battlefield. Why each deck? Ben Brode said it's because a camel has 2 humps. Drops 2 minions. I like it.
And just so you're aware, Alex is going to hate this card because it's going to make face hunters even stronger.
Yes. All right. Then you got Dart Trap. 2 to cast. When an opposing hero power is used, deal 5 damage to a random enemy.
Face hunter.
Yes. I believe this will make its way into most hunter decks.
Yep.
All right. Mage. Animated Armor. This is another card I really like. 4 to cast for a 4/4. Your hero can only take 1 damage at a time. If they don't remove this and they Pyroblast you, you only take 1. So they have to deal with it. It's a great card, I think. Ethereal
It's also a 4 for a 4/4.
Absolutely.
Which is not bad. I mean, it's decent stats on the vanilla test. I'm iffy on whether it's going to bait removal, definitely.
Exactly. I like bait cards because that's something they're not hitting me in the face with. All right. Ethereal Conjurer. 5 to cast for a 6/3. Battle Cry. Discover a spell. Again, gives you a choice of 3 mage spells to choose from. I'm a little iffy on this card.
If this was a 5/4, this would be or a 4/5. This would be an awesome card. 6/3.
Too easy
because
to
it's
get rid of.
because it's a battle cry, it will possibly be a one of in some decks.
Yeah. All right. And then you've got the Forgotten Torch. Now, I like this card. 3 to cast, deal 3 damage. But then it shuffles an additional card into your deck called the Roaring Torch, which is also 3 to cast, that does 6 points of damage. So is it worth paying 3 now for 3 damage to know you're going to get 3 cost for 6 damage later?
I think this is going to replace fireballs and tempo mage, and the reason is you want that 3 damage earlier to clear the board to couple with your flame wakers, but you want the 6 damage later to go with your Antonitis.
Finishes, yeah. Yep. All right, Paladins. Any fin can happen. 10 to cast, summon 7 Murlocs that died this game. All right, guys. Paladin Murlocs are officially a thing now. Officially.
It just exploded.
Just hear the trumpet call now. Murky's horn.
There's only one major flaw in this card.
What is
It
that?
summons 7. It summons 7 Murlocs, and there's only 6 in the picture. That's the only flaw with this card. The 10 mana is fine. I do wonder how it's going to play. They haven't really. I haven't seen anything on Twitter clarifying this. If I've only summoned 1 Murloc that died this game, do I get 7 of that 1?
No. From what I read on the Hearthstone forums, you will get that 1 Murloc. It will summon up to 7 Murlocs that have died that game. So it
won't do 2 of the same unless 2 of the same die.
2 of the same have died. That is correct. Yes.
Okay, well then this is definitely a late game to kind of bring you back. I could definitely see a Murloc deck that's aggro, and instead of Divine Favor, you put in Anything Can Happen.
Yeah. All right. Keeper of Uldamon. 4 to cast for a 3/4 battle cry. Set a minion's attack and health to 3. So, this guy is he reign or she reigns in, Alex Straza or, any of those other big guys.
Yes, Sarah.
Yeah, she can reign in Ysera, definitely.
Hammer of Wrath is going to be back in the meta.
Yep.
Yep.
But also look at it too. If you're playing a deck where you're summoning dudes and you don't have a target for that, you can always set the dude's attack and health to 3.
Absolutely. Yep.
So
Oh, yeah.
I think
Or
it's a very
Murlocs.
versatile card.
Or if you put it in a Murloc Paladin deck.
Yep.
I mean, there's so many. A lot of people say the 3 turn something to 3 oh, that's not that strong. Yeah, if you're playing aggro, it's probably not that great. But most mid range or control decks, you're going to get value out of this card.
Yeah.
It's already a 3/4 for 4, which is good. That's good. That's decent stats
Decent
for 4
stats
mana.
for a
Not
battle
great.
cry like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely with a good battle cry.
All right. Sacred Trial. It's a secret. It's a paladin secret, 1 to cast. When your opponent has at least 3 minions and plays another, destroy it.
I like that card.
I like this, but what do you take out in Secret Paladin and put this in here? Competitive Spirit?
I like competitive spirit. I don't know if I'd
That's
take
my
it out.
point. Because you can only have 5 secrets on a time, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. You can only have 5. Well,
That's why
maybe.
people don't put.
Currently, because I think there are only 5 secrets currently.
No, there's 6, but nobody
Okay.
plays with Eye for an Eye.
That's true. Nobody does play with Eye for an Eye.
And a lot of one of the points I heard brought up was because you can't have a sixth secret, even though Eye for an Eye is horrible.
All right, moving along. Priest. We have Excavated Evil. 5 to cast, deal 3 damage to all minions. Shuffle this card into your opponent's deck. I don't know. This card's seems like it could be great. At other times, it could really bite you in the butt.
I don't like this, and the main reason I don't like it is because it's not. If it was 4 damage, I would possibly consider this, or if it was 4 mana. But to be honest, the 5 mana for 3 damage to all minions, especially, and then you give them this card, I just don't. I would rather have a Velen's Chosen out and then Holy Nova for 3 damage.
Yeah. This next card I like, if it's a little, even though it might be a little expensive. It's Entomb. 6 to cast. Choose an enemy minion and shuffle it into your deck. That just sounds like all kinds of fun.
Everybody's really raving on this card, and I'll be honest, it's a priest version of Recycle,
It is. It is.
and nobody's really brought that up yet. It's 6 mana, takes it and shuffles it into a deck. Now Recycle shuffles it into your opponent's deck, and the Entomb shuffles it into your deck. Now it gives you 1 extra card, gives them 1 less card. That might make it a little better than Recycle, but I don't know. I just don't see it being groundbreaking that I have to include it. I'd rather have a light bulb to be able to clear the whole board.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I can see the value in this card in very limited situations.
All right.
I mean, if you want their creature, just do Faceless Manipulator and then removal. It's to me, it's just if it put it in your hand or even gave a copy on your side of the board, that's different. But it's the fact that you then have to draw it. It's just to me too much mana.
I actually had somebody ask me at work today, came up to my desk and said, does anybody even play Faceless Manipulator anymore?
Yeah, it's the 5 mana slot. It's just so full.
Yeah. All right, so Museum Curator. 2 to cast. He's a 1/2 with a battle cry, discover a Death Rattle card. So this could be interesting. I mean, there's quite a few Death Rattle cards out there that you could get out of this. So, I mean, again, I like it at the 2 slot. You can easily cast it and buff it. So,
And,
I feel
and
like-
normally, go ahead, Alex.
I feel like Priest early game suffers, and to have a 2 casting cost 1/2 to put on the board early, as a target for, Power Word Shield or Velen's Chosen or, something along those lines, something other than the Northshire Cleric I like that. I like that it's got a decent battle cry with it. I mean, yeah, there are all kinds of neutral cards that you can put in, but it's nice for the priest to have one that, other people don't necessarily have. That you don't have to be a dragon priest to get the benefit of.
I like this. It is 2 mana, basically draw a decent card, and I'm wondering if there's enough room in some of these priest decks. Will this build out possibly a more aggro-centric or even more of a mid-range priest deck? I don't know. I'm really interested in see what you can get. You can get some bad death rattles, but there's not. I mean, you basically, if you don't like that death rattle, there's 2 other options.
Right.
So if this was just Battle Cry, get a death rattle card, it wouldn't be very good. But the fact that you get to pick out of 3 where 2 of them might not be that great, you still have a third option. I think this is good for 2 mana.
And I also, Death Rattle Priest has been out of favor for a little while, but last month, I had a priest daily that I had to get done, so I went ahead and built a Death Rattle Priest to run through my 5 dailies, and I went 5-0. So
yeah, nobody expects it. All right, let's see. Next we Rogue. So here you've got the Tomb Pillager. Death Rattle, add a coin to your hand. He's 4 to cast for a 5/4.
He's 4 to cast for a 5/4. Sorry, I just want to repeat that.
Yeah. Then
it's really good.
Then you've got the Unearthed Raptor. 3 to cast for a 3/4. Battle Cry, choose a friendly minion, gain a copy of its Death Rattle effect. This, again, is a card that I pegged early as one that I really liked in this set. I mean, first off, it's 3 for a 3/4. That's good in and of its own. But then if you have another Death Rattle minion on the board with, say, like we were talking about, a good Death Rattle effect, it gains a copy of that. So
I've been really, one thing I've noticed with this new set, a lot of the Discover cards are, to me, severely overpriced, but I kind of understand why. But the Battle Cry and Death Rattle cards, to me, it's like they've taken a good value vanilla card, a 3 mana 3/4, and been like, that's a great card. Let's just add a really cool Battle Cry, or let's add a great Death Rattle to it, and not change the mana cost at all. And I like that, but at the same time, it scares me.
all right, and then the last rogue card is Pit Snake. 1 to cast for a 2/1. Destroy any minion damaged by this minion. So he's sort of like the stealth assassin.
right.
You can get
Except
this.
he doesn't have stealth.
You can get this in your hunter decks. When you have anything that summons a beast, you can get this card.
You can.
Anything that gives you a beast, you can get this card. 1 mana for a 2/1 that kills anything.
Yep.
All right, moving along. Here's Alex's. Shamans.
Woohoo.
Everything is awesome.
Oh, gosh.
You knew I had to do it. 7 to cast. Give your minions +2/+2. Costs 1 less for each Murloc you control. So, basically, it's a improved Bloodlust for Murlocs. Because it gives +2/+2.
Well, I mean, Bloodlust gives +3 attack.
Right.
So this is more to keep them alive, I would think.
Yep.
But if you should be killing them with this card. That's a lot of damage. If
This
you
is
could
a-
just have 5.
This is the equivalent of a second Bloodlust for Shamans.
Oh, and imagine a board full of Murlocs and a Bloodlust in this in your hand where this is free.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
2 of these in your hand.
This suddenly makes Neptulon actually worth consideration.
Well, Neptulon's always, in my opinion, been an awesome legendary card for Shaman. It just was too slow for the current Murloc decks. But now that they're a little, you want to kind of control the board and be more mid-range tempo with them, Neptulon will come in, and so will this card.
Yep.
All right. You got the Rumbling Elemental. 4 to cast for a 2/6. After you play a Battlecry minion, deal 2 damage to a random enemy.
I'm 50-50 on this. It seems like decent value. I would have liked it to have maybe totem synergy and be a totem and not an elemental.
Oh wow. Yeah, I think I could see where that would be.
I think
really
with the
broken.
mana value, if it was some kind of like rumbling totem and it was a totem, it would just be an include all the time. But the fact that it has no tribe and I just don't see it. It could work in some decks, but it's going to take some experimenting.
See, I really like this card, and because I play a lot of Shaman, there's one thing that Shaman just has to have in order to be consistently successful, and that is you have to be able to keep them from hitting you in the face. So unless you want to play a Shaman deck that is full of overload and having to negotiate that overload, this is something that you can play with a Defender of Argus. This is something that you can play with a Sun Fury Protector. This is something that, you lay those cards down, and then on the other side of it, you put your Flame Tongue Totem, and suddenly you're rocking and rolling.
So control Shaman.
Yeah, for four for a 2/6
okay.
that you can taunt, you can you can throw a Rockbiter weapon on it. You can give it Wind Fury. There's all kinds. Shaman is the only deck I feel like this works in. If you were to put this card in any other deck, then I do think you would have to struggle to find uses for it. But I think with Shaman's utility, I think that this is going to end up. I think this could end up being a very, very important staple card.
Meta changing, you think?
I don't know if it's meta changing, but I think what you can see out of it.
You don't think the control Shaman might actually be viable on the ladder or in tournaments?
I can tell you right now that my control Shaman is viable on the ladder, the way that I play it. But I've not taken it into the top 10 yet. As high as I've gone is 11. That being said, my win rate with it is still around 75%. So my current version of control Shaman doesn't have Defender of Argus in it. But this would be something that I'd be very interested in playing around with. And I think that 4 turn is normally a turn that I spend overloaded.
Okay.
So I think this is something that now makes that 4 turn not necessarily a turn that I want to throw away. So,
well, that brings us into the third card. Introduce that one, Patrick.
Yeah, you got the Tunnel Trog. 1 to cast for a 1/3. Whenever you overload, he gains +1 attack per locked mana crystal. So, if you have this guy on the board and, you blow stuff up, he can get bigger.
Well, the important thing to remember when you're looking at this is he gets +1 attack per locked mana crystal. So it's not like the other Trogs where you cast a spell and you get the +1. So let's say that you lay this
destruction.
guy.
No, not elemental destruction.
Because
everything but elemental destruction.
So let's say that you're on turn 6. You got a handful of overload cards that you've not really wanted to deal with the overload yet. So you put him down, and let's say that your opponent's got the board stacked on the other side. So you lay him down, and you lay down your Ghost Wolves, which is an overload of 2, and then you Lightning Storm, which is an overload of 2. Well, he's a 5/3 for 1 right away.
I worry about him being a 3 health. I mean, I would have loved him to be a 0/4. Of course, 1 mana. That 1/3 is great for 1 mana. I get that. I would have rather been maybe a 1/4 for 2 mana.
Well,
the 3 health just scares me. But then again, you're on turn 1, so if you load him out turn 1 and then you cast something with a coin or something on turn 2 with the overload mechanic, I could see him good for early game.
I was going to say, it seems to me like he could draw out a coin Frostbolt.
He could, or you've got the totem, and I'm blanking on the name now. That's 2 for a 3/4 that you got an overload of 2.
It's overload of 1, but it's totem golem.
Overload of 1, yeah, totem golem, and then you've got Dust Devil.
Okay.
Well, but
I'm playing with Dust Devil.
No, but here's the deal. Now, if you lay both of these on turn 1, because you can coin out, you lay him first, you coin out the Dust Devil. Well, now your opponent's got to decide which one to get rid of. Do you get rid of this guy right here, who's now a 3/3, or do you get rid of the Dust Devil, which is going to hit you for 6? Well, you're going to get rid of the Dust Devil.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's unless you're playing against a mage. I mean, you're going to have to find inventive ways to use it, but I do think he will at least bait out 1 removal. And if they're taking care of him, they're probably not going to have that Frostbolt waiting on my Flame Tongue Totem, which may mean that I get to play that Flame Tongue Totem a little bit earlier.
Dust Devil is Magma Rager's older cousin that beats him up at family reunions. I get your example, but I think Dust Devil there could be a better card than Dust Devil that you would put in that rotation.
Look, I've dealt like 22 damage to someone with a single Dust Devil. So.
Really? That's amazing because it's a horrible card. You're the shaman guy though. That's for another show.
Moving along. We got the Warlock. First card is a Reliquary Seeker. 1 to cast for a 1/1. Has Battle Cry. If you have 6 other minions on the board, she gets +4/+4.
Death Steed.
Yeah, so
I'm thinking Implosion.
Yeah,
Implosion, Death Steed decks. Any of those token or recycle recurring decks. Death Steed decks are becoming popular again now. I think they're becoming popular because they heard about this card.
Quite possibly. All right, and then you got the Curse of Rafam. 2 to cast. Give your opponent a cursed card. While they hold it, they take 2 damage on their turn. So, if you guys remember the Blackrock Mountain fight where you get a card in your hand every turn and you have to spend mana on it to get it out, or it does something nasty. That's what this is.
Was that the Crow Magus fight?
I believe so, yeah.
And they've taken a lot of inspiration from other adventures for some of these cards.
Yeah, so this is going to force them to waste 2 mana, because if I remember right, the curse is 2 to cast. This is going to force them to spend 2 mana that they can't spend on something else, or if they choose to, then you're dealing 2 damage to them as long as they hold this card.
It's basically 2 mana, deal 2 damage, and make your opponent skip a turn.
Yeah.
It's a poor man's Lothab.
Kind of,
yeah. Except it does a little damage, It can do some damage.
Right.
All right. So then we got the Dark Peddler.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Before what about this and Lothab?
Yeah. That's
That makes it 7 mana, right?
That's correct.
I'm already just rolling through my head with combinations for this card.
Boom! My head just exploded. Go ahead.
Okay.
Does that commercial where the head explodes and the purple smoke comes out the top?
Yeah.
All right. So Dark Peddler, 2 to cast for a 2/2, has Battle Cry. Discover a 1-cost card.
Zoo.
So yeah, this could go in Zoo. It's going to give you your choice of any 1-cost card, not a minion, not a spell, but any card in the game. That's the way I'm reading it.
Yep.
But it will always be neutral or
Warlock, correct.
It's still a 2 for 2/2, or 2/2 for 2.
It's not bad.
Still a 2/2 for 2.
Passes the vanilla test.
Yeah. All right. And last but not least in the classes, we have
definitely not least
the Warrior. Now, the Cursed Blade is the first card in the Warrior class. It's 1 to cast for a 2/3 weapon. You're probably saying to yourself, "What? That's awesome!" Except its ability is double all damage dealt to your hero.
I don't understand this card. I understand it. I just don't. I wouldn't. They have too many good early weapons. This wouldn't be playable.
Yeah, I don't see this as being playable either.
It might have been playable if it was 1 for a 3/2.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's less time you have it and you're still doing 6 points of damage. Here you're still doing 6 points of damage, but you're having basically tripling the amount of damage you're going to take because you're going to have it for 3 turns.
Yeah,
If it was
I don't
one
like,
for a 3/2, I would possibly play it for early
Uh,
removal.
I don't like this card at all.
No.
All right, next is the Obsidian Destroyer. 7 to cast for a 7/7. At the end of your turn, summon a 1/1 Scarab with Taunt.
I love this card.
Hogger's big brother.
I love it.
Yeah. Varian
I'm-
Wren. This is the card you want to draw with Varian Wren every time.
All right, and then the last warrior card is probably one of my favorites also. I love it. The Fierce Monkey. 3 to cast for a 3/4 Taunt.
And the most important thing about this card is to note that it is a common. This is how they're fixing the Warsong Commander change affecting Arena for Warriors.
Yep. I like this card.
So 2 things to note. One is a good thing, and one is something I'm disappointed in. The first is that he is a beast.
Yes,
So-
he is.
Random beast cards can draw this guy.
So
Number 2.
Is that why you're disappointed? Because
No,
face hunters are going to have this card.
No. Number 2. He does not have a handful of poo to fling.
he is in
not
fact
a-
holding a sword and a shield.
Yeah.
Not a monkey unless he flings poo.
You know
Just
what?
say.
I didn't notice that, and I would agree with you.
All right. On that note, we're going to go ahead and jump ahead to the neutral cards. This first one I really like. It's the Jenny of Zephyrs. 5 to cast, 4/6. Whenever you cast a spell on another friendly minion, cast a copy of it on this one. It seems like this is a neutral minion tailored for buff decks.
Dragonkin Sorcerer and Jin of Zephyrs are going to hang out at the club. They're going to be each other's wingman. These 2 cards are going to be hand in hand together.
Yep. All right. Next is the Naga Sea Witch. 5 to cast, 5/5. All your cards cost 5.
Removal.
Legendary decks?
This baits removal.
It seems like it. I mean, because now your Anoyatrons cost 5, your Alexstrasza's cost 5.
Yep. But what this says, or what this card should really say at the bottom is this costs one of your opponent's fireballs.
But here's the thing. If you do it on turn 10 and put this out, as well as Ysera or Nefarian or any of the other big dragons, which one are they going to get rid of first?
That's
Because
true.
next turn you could throw out 2 more big dragons.
Yeah.
Or 2
So-
big golems.
I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
Or
This card
giants.
has to go. This is
Yeah.
one of those cards that when it hits the board, it's immediate. Your next removal spell will be removing this card. If it doesn't, you're just going to get your brains beat in.
All right. Summoning Stone. 5 to cast, 0/6. Whenever you cast a spell, summon a random minion of the same cost. Now, they mentioned that this card was created based off of the Summoner's Challenge Tavern Brawl, which to date is one of my favorite Tavern Brawls.
exactly. It's one of my favorites as well. I love this card. I love that Tavern Brawl.
I like this card, but it's a little bit scary because there's going to be some things that you draw out of here that you don't necessarily want. An ill-timed Abomination, an ill-timed Doomsayer. There's some things in here that could really throw a wrench in your plans. So use it with caution.
Yes.
Yeah, I could see this in Druid, though, because you pop this out and you cast that removal. That isn't really the greatest removal. But if you can throw out a creature as well and then threaten them possibly for a Savage Roar the following turn.
Oh, I'm not saying it doesn't have its uses. I'm just saying you got to be careful.
Oh, yeah, I would agree.
All right, I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit on the rest of these neutral cards as we go. We've got the Eerie Statue. 4 to cast, 7/7. Can't attack unless it's the only minion on the battlefield. So that your opponent can't have any minions. You can't either, except for this one.
It's meh.
Yeah. Ancient Shade, 4 to cast, 7/4, Battle Cry. Shuffle an Ancient Curse into your deck that deals 7 damage to you when drawn. So this is running along the lines of some of their recent cards that shuffle like mines and stuff into your deck.
For a salty dog.
I would really like this card if it was a 6/4. 7/4 and
Yep.
being big game hunter target. I think it's too much risk versus reward.
Yep. All right. Fossilized Devilsaur. 8 to cast for an 8/8. Battle Cry. If you control a beast, gain taunt.
This is awesome because a lot of classes have beasts now.
Yep.
I think cards like this, you'll start to see Black Knight being teched back into decks.
Ooh, didn't think about that. With Warrior.
Yep.
All right. Wobbling Runts. 6 to cast for a 2/6. Death Rattle. Summon 3 2/2 runts.
This is the coolest card. I just think it's fun.
I love it.
Yeah, Ben Brode called it the Tower card because when the tower falls, you get 3 2/2s. So, all right, Anubisath Sentinel, 5 to cast for a 4/4, Death Rattle. Give a random friendly minion +3/+3.
Good value. Great to get out of the Death Rattle Discovery card.
Yep.
Yep. All right, Gorilla Bot A3, 4 to cast for a 3/4 mech. Battle Cry. If you control another mech, discover a mech.
Yeah.
I think this will make Mech Shaman pretty cool.
A little more viable.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it needed super help, but
No.
All right. Tomb Spider. 4 to cast for a 3/3. Battle Cry. Discover a beast.
Hate the art. Love the card.
Yeah. Jeweled Scarab. 2 to cast for a 1/1. Battle Cry. Discover a 3-cost card.
I actually like this card.
Well, I think if you've got it in your opening hand, you play it on turn 2, they Fire Blast it or whatever, now you have a turn 3 play if you didn't have one.
It plays you into curve.
Correct.
Yep.
If you get this in opening hand, you can ditch other 3-cost cards that aren't really great for you at the time, knowing you will have a 3-mana turn play.
As a Shaman player, I definitely like this card.
All right, and you got Huge Toad. 2 to cast for a 3/2. Death Rattle. Deal 1 damage to a random enemy.
And he's huge. He's got a leg sticking out of his mouth.
Yep, and they've actually got another little toad beside his left foot just for scale. And then,
I like it okay. It's sort of like a companion to the Leopard Gnome.
Yep. And you got Murloc Tiny Fin. 0 to cast, 1/1.
Cutest card in the set. Look at the little dagger.
Yeah, he's going to put somebody's eye out with that thing.
His own.
All right, now we're moving into the last few cards here. We've got Arch Thief Rafam. He is the legendary bad guy out of this set. He is 9 to cast for a 7/8. Has Battle Cry. Discover a powerful artifact. Now, your 3 choices for powerful artifact are Lantern of Power, 10 to cast, give a minion +10/+10. Mirror of Doom, 10 to cast, fill your board with 3/3 mummy zombies. Or Timepiece of Horror, 10 to cast, deal 10 damage randomly split among all enemies. Thoughts?
He's going to take some work to figuring out how to use him right, but I think he's going to be really, really strong.
I agree. You've got something really in your 3 artifacts that kind of take care of any situation you can find yourself in on turn 9. So he gives you versatility that you might not have had.
And not that he's out of the meta too much right now, but this is going to guarantee people putting in every deck a Lotheb. If this guy hits the board, you will have to Lotheb that turn.
Yep.
Or one of these cards are going to hit you.
Yep. All right. Elise Starseeker. She's the first member of the League of Explorers. She is 4 to cast for a 3/5. Battle Cry, shuffle the map to the Golden Monkey into your deck. So the map to the Golden Monkey is a 2-cost spell. Shuffle the Golden Monkey card into your deck and draw a card. The Golden Monkey is a 4 to cast 6/6 taunt minion. With a Battle Cry, replace your hand and deck with legendary minions. Now, this is pretty crazy, but I did see Frodan tweeted a picture from BlizzCon where he actually got the Golden Monkey in play and said that out of like the 2 million people or 2 million games that were played at BlizzCon, this only happened like 1% of the time. So it's pretty crazy odds on getting it out and getting it working. But it sounds like when it works, it's a lot of fun.
Well, here's the thing. It only worked 1% of the time, or 2%, whatever you want to call it, because it was played in decks that Blizzard built. You're gonna see mill decks, whether it's Rogue or Druid or some other mill deck that's designed just to force you and your opponent to draw cards, cut through the decks, and hunt for this map. And once you get the map, you just got nothing but legendaries. And you're probably gonna see, once she is out and she can be earned, I see a lot of treasure hunter decks being made.
I don't know. I think the math to me is a little off, and maybe it's just the first impression. But unless you've got her in the opening hand, you're drawing, you're drawing 3 to 4 cards right off the bat. So by the time you draw her, let's assume on average, let's just throw a number out there. Let's say you draw her on your 3rd turn, which puts her right in curve. So you're already 6, 7 cards in. You play her. You shuffle the map. Let's assume that it takes you another 6 or 7 cards to get to the map. Well, you're already 13 cards in. And by the time you play that and then you shuffle the Golden Monkey in, let's say that it's another 6 or 7 cards. And by then you're 18 cards into your 30-card deck. So really you're only getting... I would say your average is going to be
12 to 15.
10 cards probably left.
I was averaging 7 to 9 legendaries when I did the math on averages.
And they're not guaranteed. I mean, you could get Cho, Blood Mage Thalnos,
true,
Nat Pagle, and...
I'm not saying this deck is going to be good. I said you're going to see treasure hunter decks out there. The speedy draw engine of Rogue using sprint with preparation and Cold Light Oracle and all those drawing engines could make this speed up, but I think you're right. I think you're probably going to average at the best 10 legendaries out of this, and it's not going to be game winning.
We're hosting a fireside gathering at the end of this month, and I may put this deck together for that.
Yeah.
It's a lottery deck. It's fun to play, but you're probably not going to win.
True.
All right, moving on. The rest of the league, you have Bran Bronzebeard, 3 to cast for a 2/4. All of your battle cries trigger twice. So he is the battle cry version of Baron Rivendare.
I think he's going to be good when people realize that they're thinking about now going, what battle cries would I really need to trigger twice that aren't like super expensive? But look at some of the new cards that are coming out that have awesome low-cost battle cries.
Yep. All right, then you got Reno Jackson, 6 to cast for a 4/6. Battle cry. If your deck contains no more than one of any card, fully heal your hero.
Yep, I'm making a legendary deck with this card.
Well, decks with one copy of a card were some of my favorite to play back when I was playing Magic.
Yeah.
I think they were called Highlander decks.
Yeah.
There can be only one. And then probably my favorite of all the explorers, Sir Finley Murgleton.
Murgle, a gurgle, gurgle.
He's a proper Murloc. 1 to cast, 1/3, battle cry, discover a new basic hero power.
I love this card.
Yeah, me too.
I think this card is definitely going to be fun.
I mean, say you're playing a rogue and now you have, summon a 1/1 minion, or now you have Fire Blast, or, I mean, it's crazy.
Well, but rogue, you're going to get rid of your weapon, so I'm not so sure if it would be necessarily a great one. But I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine a shaman with Fire Blast instead of totems,
Or steady
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
or steady shot?
Could be fun either way.
Yeah.
And basically, you're probably going to see it in anything that would play Murlocs. So Shaman, probably Paladin,
Right.
maybe Warlock.
Yeah. All right. So that is League of Explorers. It supposedly launches tomorrow. Keep your eyes open.
It said the 12th and 13th, depending on your region.
Gotcha.
I have a feeling this is probably going to be 11:59 Pacific Standard Time on the 12th, like they've done before. So we'll just I expect to be able to play this on Friday in the United States.
All right. And today's Tavern Brawl, it launched today. It is a rework of a previous Tavern Brawl. We are back for the showdown at Blackrock again. You've got Nefarian versus Ragnaros. Only this time they've tweaked Nefarian a little bit, so it's a little fairer fight. Have you guys done this one yet?
Nope.
I've played one. I've been able to get one in.
I actually played 2. I played both times as Nefarian, and the first time I absolutely destroyed my opponent with Nefarian. The second time I actually ran out of steam and got Ragnaros down to 1 before he was able to kill me. So it's a lot of fun. Go play it. All right, so this week's deck, as we talked about at the top of the show, we are talking Oil Rogue because it was the only deck played by both finalists of the Hearthstone World Championship. Here's a copy of the deck list we're going to be using. And this deck is very bursty. The point of this deck is to kind of control a little bit and then burst down your opponent with anywhere between 10 to 20 points of damage depending on how you're doing as far as spells go. Quick rundown of the deck list. We are running 2 Backstab, 2 Preparation, 2 Deadly Poison, 1 South Sea Deckhand, 2 Blade Flurries, 2 Eviscerates, 2 Saps, 1 Blood Mage Thalnos, 2 Fan of Knives, 1 Big Game Hunter, 2 SI7 Agents, 2 Tinker's Sharpsword Oils, 2 Piloted Shredders, 1 Violet Teacher. Now, I'm going to make a note here because there are some decks, including Ostkakas, that run 2 copies of this card. The version of the deck we chose to use is actually Hot Forms. So the big differences here are Ostkaka doesn't run
Antique Healbot. He uses Earthen Ring Farseer.
Yes.
And he also runs
Edwin Van
Cleef. Yeah.
Instead of does he not run the Azure Drakes, I believe?
No, he I don't
runs
think he
one
had a Big
Azure
Game
Drake.
Hunter.
One of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no Big Game Hunter.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So then, like you said, we've got 1 Antique Healbot, 2 Azure Drakes, 1 Lotheb, and 2 Sprints in this deck.
And really, it was the Big Game Hunter being included in this deck was the biggest reason why I thought this was a more well-rounded deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the big thing to remember here is you'll be very tempted to pop that South Sea Deckhand out and get going with your dagger and getting that 2 damage in quick. You really want to hold it for the oil combo because that's your damage.
That's correct. All right, guys. We want to actually wish everyone out there who has served a happy Veterans Day, including our resident veteran, Zeroshio.
Thank you.
And I know Salathiel is in chat. Thank you for your service. Guys, thank a veteran today if you have the chance, if you haven't already.
Thank them every day.
Absolutely.
But especially today.
Yeah. All right, guys. If you're joining us on Twitch or YouTube, please stay tuned for the live play portion of our show. If you are listening via the audio podcast, thank you for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at HeroPower_cast. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. And you can find all of our past episodes on YouTube. I believe that's all I've got this week. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
The intro music for Hero Power was written and arranged by Brian Griffith. For more information about Brian's music, you can visit his website, briangriffithmusic.com. All right, guys. I am ready to rock this. Let's get some games going.
All right.
It says here in small print if my Hearthstone isn't locked up.
Yeah, I think mine might have locked up too. Hopefully we're not having some Hearthstone related issues.
No, I'm in and working fine.
Okay.
I'm
brought mine up, but
relaunching now.
It
At
just
least-
stuck at the Hearthstone logo. Is what
At
it
least
stuck
from the play/choose your deck.
Okay, now I'm in. Okay. And you're driving today, correct, Forsiki?
Yep. Let me know when you're in, Avanti.
Ready to
And
go.
Everybody's still watching.
All right.
Thanks for hanging with us live on the live show on Twitch. You guys are awesome. We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight.
I am finding a worthy opponent.
I wish they'd spin some of the other options when you're in Tavern Brawl, other than a worthy opponent. I think that would be hilarious.
I'd like to play the really slow guy.
Watch.
Okay, so going first, which is not really what I like to do with this deck. Against a warrior, I'm not going to really need that sap early. Fan of Knives isn't going to help me much either, other than to draw a card. I really want to save that for when I have some spell power anyway. I'm actually thinking of throwing all these back. What do you guys think?
I think that's probably not bad.
What are we playing against? A shaman?
Warrior.
Playing against a
Warrior?
warrior, I mean,
Maybe keep the sap, but
yeah, that would be the only one I would think about keeping would be sap. Throw the rest back.
it's valid to throw all of it back. Though.
Yeah, they probably don't have a whole lot of early game, so.
No.
Eh.
A little bit of removal and some good mid game.
I mean, the eviscerate will be okay. Don't really have anything to activate it. Having a pile of shredder is always nice to have on turn 4, especially against.
Probably just hero power and attack face.
Yeah.
Job's done.
And a lot of your rogue players won't attack early because they want to keep both charges on there. But either way, with our hand, we probably will use our hero power for the first couple turns. I just equipped pass.
Yep.
Save that poison.
And that's really the hardest part about this deck, because you're really tempted to throw that poison on there, but you really want to try and save it.
Especially against Warrior, you want to save it for the Acolyte of Pains.
All right, so even though it doesn't look like it, at this point, the deck is really actually starting to take shape. We've got a really good draw going, so at this point, we just want a little bit of board presence. Maybe try to draw out Fiery War Axe.
Yeah, Pilot Shredder, the Fiery War Axe, or better yet, a Death Spite.
Yeah. Go ahead and do that, and I mean, he's obviously armoring up. This is probably a Control Warrior.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is anything I can do to start kind of nipping away at that armor.
Ooh. Shield Maiden?
Frothing Berserker.
Frothing.
Fiery War Axe.
That's a really early Frothing. That's great.
Sharp sword, kill the frothing and hit him in the face for a lot.
I wouldn't use a sharp sword yet. I'd go ahead and just run that in to the frothing, and then, or I'd backstab it first, then run that into the frothing. We have prep to activate anything, any other combos. Prep sharp sword oil is just great. I'd run in, and I would just dagger up.
Yep.
To give us a 2-charge dagger going into the next turn. And all his armor's gone.
Yep.
So.
Acolyte of Pain.
That's where the deadly poison comes from.
Yep.
Ruby and egg.
Alright, so turn 6.
We could clear his board if we really wanted to, and then make him use that last charge on the SI7 agent. We'd deadly poison into the Acolyte, then we'd SI7 the egg, and then eviscerate it. I don't know if we want to put that much into it. That's us activating it and killing it instead of letting him do it.
Right. The other option is... Okay, I think he's probably going to activate the egg with a rage.
Whirlwind or Enrage?
Yeah,
You have
I'm
to
thinking,
hit it twice.
Right, so Enrage would allow him to run it into something of mine.
We could just clear the Acolyte and that's it.
I'm thinking...
That way he doesn't run it into anything of ours.
You know what? I think I'm just going to hit and pass.
Okay. Fair enough.
I don't necessarily want to give him another card right now.
True.
I want to see what he's going to do with this egg.
I can take the hit.
Okay, so this means he's probably got a Despite in his hand. Okay, so I'm thinking now we clear the Acolyte. I'm still saying make him activate the egg for us. So I'm saying clear the Acolyte and the Shield Maiden with deadly poison on the dagger, eviscerate, and then SI7 agent on the
Acolyte.
No, we'll run into the Acolyte. We'll eviscerate and SI7 agent
to kill the 5/5. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What do you think, James?
Sorry, that sounds good to me. Sorry, I was muted for a second.
Okay.
Yeah, I was agreeing with you.
This guy's toast.
This does allow him to activate Nerubian by running it in if he can use a buff its damage up. Another egg.
Defender of Argus. Sun Fury Protector.
Despite. Okay.
Despite. Yeah.
Still, he's gonna have to use it with a whirlwind or something.
All right, so this is where I feel like we lay the Violet Teacher, prep, sprint.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
He will clear the Violet Teacher. Actually, yeah, that's not a very good idea.
I mean,
I wonder.
yeah,
'cause the
that's playing right
whirlwind
into
will
him.
Finish it off. Yep.
I would just prep sprint, see what we draw into.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And another.
All right. I think I'm gonna tempt him because I really want that charge going on that death spite.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet he's probably only playing one.
Well, even if you're on 2, you got 2 more turns. Yeah, go ahead and Acolyte and just don't. I wouldn't hit anything.
Yep.
Because when we definitely want to use our Tinker Sharp Sword Oil when we have 2 charges, so we can couple it with Blade Fury.
Yep.
Blade Flurry. Sorry.
Yep.
For those that didn't know, I had a tooth removed yesterday, so some of my letters don't always hit right.
So this is part of the pitfall of this deck is overthinking it too. So you got to be careful because this is going to be a very big frothing berserker. But this is why we kept our sap.
That's why we kept the sap, and we have Blade Flurry. If he activates the eggs this turn with I was hoping he'd whirlwind and activate them. See, he is. This is playing against Blade Flurry. He wants us to Blade Flurry this board.
Right.
So a sap is probably good. I would probably throw out the Azure Drake first.
Yep.
See what we draw, and then get ready to sap that.
And then I'm going to go ahead and sap.
Yeah. I mean, running our face into it is also a valid play, but I really don't want to take that damage with the threat of Grom.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. I'm almost thinking go ahead and hit his face here and reactivate our dagger so that it sets us up for the next one.
You can. It takes away that 4 armor, gets him down to 1, so a simple shield slam doesn't kill that Azure Drake.
Right. He'll have to shield block or shield maiden to get into it.
Exactly. He'll have to do something to get it. Even just a hero power isn't work. This is not bad.
There's the big game hunter.
Well, but we don't have to big game hunter this.
No, we don't.
We don't, and that's kind of what I'm thinking because we have the Blade Flurry.
Because we can clear the whole board by running a Azure Drake into an egg,
We can
a dagger into
an
an egg, and then Blade Flurry with after we Sharp Sword Oil. It's a lot of damage we lose from the Drake, but we have another Sharp Sword Oil.
Yeah.
Again, we're waiting for that South Sea deckhand.
So should I go ahead and backstab?
Yeah, backstab the boom. Run Drake in your face into a 0-1. Sharp Sword Oil, Blade Flurry. And then dagger up.
I think
Hope
we missed something there.
Yeah, we missed something there. What did we miss? Oh, we didn't run the Drake in.
Yeah, I did.
Thanks.
Did
you didn't
attack
no.
face the other egg?
No, I hit both eggs.
That's weird. Because that shouldn't have happened that way. I'm not sure what happened. Everything went so fast. But that's not the end of the world. I mean,
Nah.
Nope.
yeah, especially with that.
I'm at 9, which puts me in Grom range.
Teacher sap eviscerate.
What did we hit to put us down to 9?
We got hit by the bombs.
So
Not that
many
much.
options.
Because one of the bombs hit the Drake, I thought. Because he was down 2.
Oh, I bet when I hit the Drake, it popped the other Nerubian on the other side, and I'd already queued up my hit, and I ended up
Gotcha.
hitting the other Nerubian.
Yeah. We just should have taken that a little slower. That's okay. That's we saw misplays like that in the tournament. So something moving.
Okay. So I've got to get rid of at least one of these guys.
You could sap frothing again.
You could
Yeah.
Violet Teacher sap and
Yeah.
eviscerate.
Ooh, yeah.
Pay attention.
Violet
class.
teacher, sap, and then eviscerate.
I'm ready to learn.
Then face dagger up. Or you can deadly poison and hold it and don't attack.
I didn't have. I was running out of time.
That's fine. That works.
Yeah, because next turn you can Sharp Sword Oil or Deadly Poison or both. Go
Yeah.
face.
Okay, now this is not bad because we have Big Game Hunter.
Yeah. No. Of course,
Problem is, it's only a 6.
yeah, he's got to get one more point of damage in there.
I think he's got us.
You could deadly poison, hit the 3/3, and then kill the big game hunter, the frothing.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to have to do. It's the only way to live.
Yep. Okay, we have 11 points with the Tinker and the South Sea next turn.
You could, yeah, let's say, yeah, we can do that next turn.
We'll probably end up sprinting unless he puts something major on the board.
Welcome to
He's waiting for
Grand
Grom.
Tournament
Oh.
Champion.
One thing about, and here comes the BMs, and that's one thing about the Oil Rogue deck. Well, you're gonna run into Big Game Hunter to kill the True Heart.
Yeah.
It's probably a good idea, and of course Lothar. That's one thing about the Oil Rogue. When you take your time to get your big combo off, decks like Control Warrior have time to build up so much armor that your combo really can't put a dent
I
in it.
can take the hit.
I was hoping he didn't have another one of those.
It's a standard for 2 of them. Yeah, well, that's helpful. You clear that, and he's got so much armor.
Yeah.
I'd say we just keep stalling this out till we get to a point where we're getting close to fatigue. So I'd pass, and then that way, if he's close to fatigue, he's used all his removal, and our South Sea deckhand may actually stay on the board.
Yeah.
Let the pain speak to me. Back to work.
Actually, don't mind him drawing cards right now.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. Of course, he's
Just
got
now-
he's got a whole lot more armor to go through.
Yeah. Definitely Azure Drake. Oh, yes!
Perfect draw.
It's exactly what we needed. That'll be good. That doubles up our. Now this is when you take your dagger to face and then dagger up,
Yeah.
because we need 2 charges for to double the damage from our Sharp Sword Oil with Blade Flurry.
Right.
Pass the turn.
Yeah, go ahead and end. Because with South Sea Deckhand, that's a 13-point combo.
Right. Well, you also get the added spell damage.
Oh yeah.
But he'll
Yeah.
Arcanite Reaper.
I've seen this version of the Control Warrior. The big thing is keeping the board clear with removal, getting your Justicar True Heart out, and just using weapons to clear, and then getting one big threat on the board that stays there. Prep Sprint.
How are we deck wise? How many
Prep
cards are
sprint.
left in each deck?
Yeah.
Prep Sprint. No, that we can't do that. We only got
Easy.
3 cards.
Yeah,
They
he's
got-
he's gonna run out before me.
No, we're gonna run up before him.
That's what I'm saying. This is actually over.
I mean, right now all you can really do is South Sea Deckhand and Tinker Sharpstone Oil, go to face with your face and the Deckhand. It's not ideal or great, but we need the damage. We pretty much, I don't think we can win this. There's too much armor.
Too soon.
Yeah.
We needed the South Sea earlier, which is why I'm not a big fan of one of. But then again, when you have 2 of them, you draw them too soon. Oh, he's racing this. I did not expect that.
Me either.
I really think he has Grom in his hand.
I think you're probably right.
But let's play it out. Pilot Shredder. Just face. It's the place, and then dagger up. We don't need to Blade Flurry because there's nothing on the board to clear. Oh, wow. Okay.
Shame we don't get that battle cry.
Yeah. I don't know why he didn't go to her. Unless he's running out of threats. Axe Flinger.
I'm almost out of cards.
I don't think he's got Grom or he would have used it there.
Problem is, we almost have to kill that Axe Flinger.
Yep.
And I would do it with South Sea Deckhand. He doesn't have the Grom. Well, he didn't have an activator for Grom. Maybe why he didn't use it if he has it. Yeah, I'd run the South Sea into that and then go face dagger up. It's the best we can do for now. Now with Grom, even without an activator, we're dead.
Maybe he just hadn't drawn him yet.
Face. No? Is he toying with us?
Another X
That
Flinger.
happened.
I think he's playing with us.
I'm out of cards.
Sorry, I can't help it.
Fatigue ourselves?
Oh yeah,
Prep spread?
I'm
Blue.
absolutely going to do that.
Ha, this guy's toast. I will crush you.
No, you won't. We're gonna crush ourselves.
Well, at least we lost in style.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the deck did what it's supposed to do. It just, against that armor, it's just really difficult.
Yeah, we'll do one more.
All right, sounds good.
I'm good for one more.
Having a hard time finding someone worthy. I wonder if that says something about me. Oh, now I know it's late. I softball pitched that to you guys.
Sorry, yeah.
Neither one of you took it.
I was a little preoccupied.
With honor.
I got you.
Watch
Just a little.
back.
Yikes.
Wow. I mean, we
Nice
got
curve.
we got the good curve, and we got the build up. We got the card draw and everything. I think we can dump the Tinker Sharp Soda Oil. We might want to keep the rest. Definitely, I would keep the Fan of Knives going against Paladin
Yeah, I'm
because it
thinking
plays
about.
right in the same turn for muster.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking of pitching the Deadly Poison as well. Trying to think of early game threats that I would need the Deadly Poison for.
You would need it for Knife Juggler.
Yes.
On turn 2, you could dagger up, coin, Deadly Poison to kill it. If you need to. Oh, back
course.
or backstab.
I was gonna say, I was
Those two.
hoping that I would draw a backstab out of pitching what I had. Oh, and look at that.
How about two backstabs?
Sure, why not? Let's get some of our combo pieces.
And the funny thing is, out of the two oiled rogue decks, we picked the more minion heavy deck. You couldn't tell it by my hand, but
I would, yeah, that and dagger up. Normally, I probably would say hang on to the charge and don't go to face. But since we have Fan of Knives in our hands to deal with muster, that's for. What? Okay, backstab.
oh yeah.
Just go face and dagger up.
This is aggro paladin. I don't think we're playing secret paladin or mid range. This looks like aggro paladin. I hate just hitting that with a dagger every turn, but yeah.
Yeah, because I don't want to give him the opportunity to
No, you don't.
use Blessing.
Blessing of Might or Kings.
Well, even if he does, you've got a sap in your hand. You could always sap
Yeah.
it if you had to.
Yeah, but I'm going to get hit with him.
Put this apple on your head.
Reporting for duty.
What do you think of Fan of Knives just so we can draw a card? See what we get. And then probably dagger that. Ooh. Hit it, maybe Thanos?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And the main reason I want a Thanos is mainly to get something on the board for him to deal with.
Yeah.
Or for us to combo with.
Reporting
And there's
for
the
duty.
muster. He was holding it.
That's fine, we got Blade Flurry.
Yep.
Reporting for duty.
I also think he was baiting the Fan of Knives.
I think so too. You good with using the Blade Flurry here?
I wouldn't then dagger up.
Because I think he's probably got a quartermaster behind that.
I would bet money on that. I don't know if I'd go to face.
I'm not.
Keep those charges.
Yeah.
Just in case we need a deadly poison to get rid of.
Dr. Boom.
I'm not gonna use. Don't want to use deadly poison for that if we don't have to. Might have to. Deadly poison eviscerate. That's 7 damage to the face.
Yeah. Not so sure I want to do that just yet.
But
I don't
what-
know that I've
we're
got
gonna
much
take
of an
the-
option though.
We're gonna take the damage regardless.
Yeah.
Might have been better to hang on to the.
Deadly Poison, Eviscerate, and then play Loatheb.
Yeah.
Yeah. Playing from behind now.
Choose two.
Ready to ride.
Yeah, this is aggro. Definitely.
Very aggro-y.
Reporting for duty.
Sprint here and look for a Blade Flurry or a, and then you can coin into it.
Yeah. Wish we had a prep.
See, the problem with the Blade Flurry is you could very easily take both of those cannonballs to the face.
Yeah. And you're going to take 2 from the Leper Gnome.
Yeah. I don't see as how we have much of an option, though.
Choose two.
Alright, I'm going for it.
You don't even need to coin. Yeah, just go face and then, or yeah, Blade Flurry now.
And this kind of shows that this deck is not easy to play. These
No,
guys that
no,
won
it's
these
not.
tournaments with this deck are top-notch players.
I was dead either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loatheb had
this-
to take both.
Of all the decks we've shown on Hero Power so far, this is by far the hardest deck to play.
I believe so.
It's also a deck that is more tournament meta and not so much ladder meta.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't handle things that are popular on the ladder. It doesn't handle those decks as well. It's a little more text specific.
Yes. Yes, it is. Okay, guys. I guess that will do it for us for this week. If you have any questions or comments about the show, please email us at heropowerpodcast@gmail.com. Please do us a huge favor and hit that subscribe button below on YouTube, or if you're watching us on Twitch, please give us a follow. That way you can be alerted when we go live. Remember to also check out our Patreon, because once we hit our first milestone, we'll start giving out a minimum $20 a month prize to one lucky patron. For more details, check out patreon.com/ECMMOGamers. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us this week. We'll be back again next week. And as always, I'm Avantes.
I'm Zeroshio.
I'm Versika.
And good gaming.